Alright, so what comes of this type of stuff is that there's such an infrastructure of corruption that surrounds these cop gangs. Okay, so I don't like the private prison model, but there is a private management idea that isn't necessarily meant to be making something profitable, but are like essentially management consultants of a prison. Corporate social responsibility management corporations. Okay? So that type of stuff is in ways is utilized in some bad prisons once in a while. And that my thought is that there potentially can be smaller corporations that can develop for that focus on small county jails, county court systems, local PDs and stuff, and then potentially like county commissioners, because essentially a lot of this cop gang shit builds in an internal corruption that nobody seems to break through. And so in lots of ways, like these cops, okay? These cops down in LA. It's like, here's my guess of what they'll find in an investigation. Targeted beatings that potentially might have evidence of being premeditated before being called, or even technically knowing the person. There might be pre-planning on setting someone up in like a gang stalking way and then beating them as a form of intimidation to a group that they potentially represent or are a part of. Then essentially extortions that operate in like a targeted way to be running some sort of drug metro style mission, that then the extortions get used as a tool on the mission that has a premeditation, like, oh, if we need to get in this computer or whatever, we extort. And then that being premeditated. These are kind of what the cop gangs around here do. Then there might arise evidence of skimming off of drug seizures, skimming off of crime, using extortion, getting money, stuff like that. And that then essentially there'll be inoculation for profit of one gang that pays and then the other gang that doesn't getting busted, and then that being a form of drug gang kind of battling. Let's see, online sociopathic control over the lives of perceived slaves. A lot of those cop gangs are in a satanic S&M club with an extortion over women that they view as their slaves. Potentials for exposure of rape and pedophile blackmails, and essentially organized corruption that works through the court systems, other PDs, county commissioners, mayor's offices, and stuff like that. And so my thought on this is that these people, if they're running a cop gang, those are, like I say, those are the worst gangs in all of gang management. And that those people are always super fucking psycho. Okay, so the whole idea is that any sheriff's department that has those people operating is mismanaged. Those people are crazy. They should not have mental health evaluations that are clean bills of health if they're being managed properly. The blatant misogyny stuff, the blatant racism shit, that is that type of behavior calls into question whether they have a clean mental health even be fit for duty. Blatant racism and blatant misogyny has them being biased in 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 a position where they're not allowed to exercise that type of bias. So that is where private management consultant firms, basically, that operate on a corporate social responsibility platform, not private cops, not private prisons, an outside check and balance to see if you were to bring in one of these into this area, then these people would be pedally perfect all the time. That would clean up a lot of this problem. And so that's where I think that there's a real potential for new ways of viewing this type of stuff, and that this stuff reaches into these mayor's office. Like I literally made it